All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're taking a look at a genuinely fascinating piece of ancient scripture, a text known as the Āṭānāṭiya Sutta. And we're going to unpack the whole thing. But we're not just going to read it like some dusty old textbook. We're going to look at it for what it truly is, an epic, cosmic, mutual defense pact. As you'll see, these dense, ancient spiritual doctrines actually outline a highly organized, literal peace treaty between human beings and the unseen world. So let's dive into this question. Picture this for a second. You're an ancient monk. Your entire goal in life is to meditate in total peace, right? So you venture out deep into the remote wilderness. But there's a huge problem. That wilderness is already occupied by spirits and demons who basically thrive on absolute chaos. How on earth do you survive? How do you set up boundaries? Well, today we're going to explore the literal clash between human laws and the chaotic nature of the spirit world, exactly as it's laid out in our source material. To make sense of this cosmic agreement, we're going to break it down into 5 parts: the midnight visit, the clash of values, the 4 great kings, the enforcement mechanism, and finally, the Buddha's endorsement.
Starting off with Part 1, the midnight visit, a celestial gathering at Vulture Peak.
So the story kicks off long after dark at this famous mountainous spot called Vulture Peak. And let me tell you, this is not your typical quiet night in the wilderness. The ancient text sets this incredibly cinematic scene. It says, when the night had passed the first watch, they illuminated the entire Vulture Peak with surpassing radiance. The 4 great kings of the cosmos didn't just quietly knock on the front door. Nope, they showed up with their massive spirit armies of yakkhas, gambabas, kumhandas, and nagas, literally lighting up the entire mountain with their radiant presence, all to seek an audience with the Buddha. Now, the whole reason for this incredibly dramatic entrance is crucial. The leader of this massive host, King Vesavana, steps forward to deliver the Āṭānāṭiya. And this isn't just some nice poetry. It's essentially a supernatural shield. It's designed as a specialized protective chant offered specifically to protect the monks, nuns, and lay followers from the hostile, non-believing spirits lurking out there in the wild. Which brings us to Part 2, the clash of values, or why the spirits were so angry in the first place. You might be wondering, why did the monks even need this protection? Well, it boils down to a massive clash of lifestyles. It's like oil and water. On one side, you've got the Buddha's followers who live strictly by the 5 precepts. They're abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and drinking intoxicants. They seek out these deep, quiet forests because it's the perfect setting for secret, silent meditation. But on the other side, the text explicitly tells us that the native yakka spirits absolutely revel in chaos. They're into killing, stealing, lying, getting intoxicated, the whole shebang. So you have these serene monks trying to meditate in the exact territories ruled by chaotic spirits who despise peaceful rules. It is literally the ultimate cosmic turf war. Moving on to Part 3, the 4 great kings, mapping the spiritual cosmos. Before you can draw up any borders for a treaty, you've got to establish who actually has the authority to make the rules, right? The treaty does this by paying homage to an unbroken, supreme lineage of past Buddhas. It systematically honors Vipassi, Sikhi, Vasabu, Kokosanda, Konagamana, Kassapa, and finally Angirasa, which is the family name for Gautama, the current Buddha. By doing this, the treaty totally locks in its legal and spiritual authority before laying down a single rule. And here is where they establish order. This is basically a literal map of the Buddhist cosmos right from the source text. It takes all these vast, chaotic spirit armies and puts them right under the strict jurisdiction of the 4 great kings. The east is ruled by Dhatarattha and his Gandhabas. The south belongs to Viralukaka and the Kumbhandas. The west is governed by Virapaka and the Nagas. And the north? That's under Kuvera, also known as King Vesavana, the lord of the yakkas. It is a perfectly organized chain of command. Now, King Vesavana, he's the main architect of this whole treaty. And the text spends a solid amount of time bragging about his majestic northern realm. He specifically highlights his magnificent flying capital city, Alakamanda. The text paints this vivid picture of a place filled with permanent fruits, beautiful lakes, and birds with human-like faces. He's describing all of this wealth and structure to set the stage. He's basically proving that his territory isn't just a bunch of wild, unruly woods. It's a highly structured kingdom where his laws are absolute. Now, for Part 4, the enforcement mechanism. What actually happens when the treaty is broken? Because let's be real, a treaty is only as good as its enforcement. And the text gives us this brilliant real-world political analogy to explain this to the monks. It says, like robbers in the kingdom of Magadha who do not obey the king, these rogue spirits are enemies of the great kings. It's acknowledging that, yeah, there are always going to be some fierce, stubborn spirits who just refuse to listen to the great kings or their deputies. But the moment they cross the line and harass a monk, bam, they're no longer just annoying spirits. They are officially declared outlaws and enemies of the state.
And the consequences for these outlaws, they are incredibly severe. If a rogue spirit goes after a follower of the Buddha who has learned this chant, they are facing total supernatural cancellation. We're talking zero shelter or respect in any village or city. They are permanently banished from the beautiful capital of Alakamanda. They get banned from attending any yakka assemblies, and they're even denied marriage rights. And get this, in the most extreme enforcement measure mentioned, the text literally says their head will be split into 7 pieces. I mean, that is complete and total social exile and destruction.
But what are you supposed to do right in the middle of an attack? Well, if a spirit won't back off, the treaty gives you a direct escalation protocol. Followers are given this specific list of heavy-hitting yakka generals to call upon. The text lists names like Inda, Soma, Varuna, Pajapati, and a bunch of others. It's literally an ancient emergency hotline. You don't just sit there and suffer in silence. You call the cosmic police. And it actually gives you the exact script for when you make that call. The follower is supposed to shout, "This yakka is seizing me. This yakka is hurting me. This yakka does not release me." It's this incredibly dramatic, legally binding cry for help that the follower has to use to summon those generals and actively enforce the Mutual Defense Pact. Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, the Buddha's endorsement, securing the treaty for the future. So the kings finish their grand presentation, they head out, and the night wraps up. But the Buddha didn't just passively nod along and forget about it. The text points out that the very next morning, as soon as the sun was up, he gathered his monks. He relayed the whole midnight event to them, detail by detail, and officially ratified the treaty by teaching them the precise chant. He gives them a direct command. Learn the Āṭānāṭiya protection, retain it in your minds. He makes it super clear that this chant is explicitly for the protection, safety, and comfort of everyone. Monks, nuns, lay followers, the whole community. By officially endorsing it, he's ensuring that the deep peace of meditation can actually survive securely right alongside the wild, unseen forces of the world. Now, obviously, most of us aren't meditating in ancient, demon-filled forests today, but we definitely live in a world packed with unseen chaos, relentless distractions, and wildly clashing values. The Āṭānāṭiya Sutta really shows us the importance of recognizing that chaos and actively establishing firm boundaries to protect our own peace. So I want to leave you with a thought to chew on today. In a world full of unseen chaos, what are the terms of your own inner peace treaty? How do you call upon your own generals to maintain your focus and serenity? Thank you so much for exploring this remarkable text with me today. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will catch you in the next explainer.